The candle flickered as I entered the bedroom, its vanilla cedar scent filling the air. It was the same one she lit for celebrations, but tonight felt different. Her side of the closet stood half empty, and on my pillow lay a folded note, like some verdict I wasn't prepared for. I didn't need to read it, I already knew. The silence in the house pressed down, heavy and mocking. Earlier she'd stood before me, arms crossed, wearing that oatmeal sweater she favored. Her voice was calm, rehearsed. "It's not my job to fulfill your needs. Deal with it." No explanation, no warning, just cold dismissal. Like being fired from my own life. I didn't shout or cry. Instead, I tilted my head, swallowed hard, and replied, "Then it's not my job to pay for your wants." She raised an eyebrow, surprised, yet almost impressed. Without another word, she turned, packed 2 bags, and walked out, leaving the front door wide open. That was the last time she came back. I sat on the couch, hands numb, heart pounding too loudly and too slowly at once. In the sink sat a wine glass, lipstick staining its rim, not her shade, not her glass. My stomach sank. I opened the junk drawer, pulled out her old iPad, and powered it up. Messages loaded instantly, photos, dates, conversations. Her workshop in Asheville? A weekend getaway with Ty, a 32-year-old climbing instructor? Emotional healing indeed, and paid for with my credit card. But instead of rage, I responded with precision. Paperwork, passwords, and one cutting truth delivered over dinner unraveled everything she thought she controlled. The next morning, the house felt eerily still. No coffee mug clinks, no podcast hum. Silence. Waiting. I lingered in bed, staring at the ceiling fan spinning aimlessly above me. Finally, I made my way to the kitchen. Her mug sat untouched, half full on the counter. Then I saw it. A note stuck to the fridge. "Groceries are your turn. Don't forget oat milk, toothpaste, firm bananas. L." That signature, so distant now, like something from another lifetime. И эта мелочь разрушила меня сильнее, чем вчерашний скандал. Я стоял, сжимая записку, словно приговор. Тут я вспомнил про iPad. Я еще не проверил все. Мои руки дрожали, когда я взял его снова. Я не знал, на что надеюсь. Может, я думал, что ошибся, что это не предательство, а просто эмоциональная связь, которую она не знала, как завершить. Но нет. Одно из сообщений было от него, всего 3 дня назад. Он прислал ей фото тех же бананов. Да, бананов. «Достаточно твердое для тебя?» Смайлик со слезами радости. А она ответила: «Идеально. Ты знаешь меня слишком хорошо», отправив воздушный поцелуй. У меня подкосились ноги. Этот глупый фрукт подтвердил все. Она даже не пыталась скрыть это. Использовала наши ритуалы, шутки, систему покупок как декорации для спектакля, который разыгрывала с ним. Я пролистал дальше. Там был список дат, которые нужно избегать. Выходные, когда я уезжал на тренинги или конференции, стоматологические записи, которые она якобы планировала, но никогда не делала. Все было тщательно спланировано, чтобы создать вторую жизнь без моего ведома. Но я заметил. И теперь каждый момент в нашем доме казался частью ее плана. Ее настойчивость в управлении банковскими счетами, предложение спать в разных комнатах ради лучшего сна, внезапная одержимость приложениями для бюджета – все это было лишь каркасом для выхода, который она считала, что я слишком слеп или мягок, чтобы заметить. Но она недооценила одно – человек, которого долго игнорировали, не взрывается, он разрушается. И когда терять уже нечего, даже самый тихий человек обретает голос. Я не собирался с ней говорить, пока нет, пока не разберу каждую деталь.
Поэтому я позвонил на работу, сказал, что болен, запер входную дверь и начал печатать банковские выписки, чеки из отелей, скриншоты переписок, даже скачал записи с умного звонка. То самое время, когда она сказала, что была на йоге, но такси привезло ее в красном платье с туфлями в руках. Определенно, не с тренировки. Я не строил месть.
Я готовил ясность, потому что в следующий раз, когда она скажет, что ее работа не удовлетворять мои потребности, я покажу, что происходит, когда я перестаю покрывать ее. Я не гордился тем, что сделал дальше, но гордость — это роскошь, которой у меня больше не было. Я сидел за кухонным столом, тем самым, который мы выбрали вместе на блошином рынке в Эшвилле, и открыл ее старый MacBook. Он все еще стоял на полке, там, где она оставила его полгода назад, купив что-то более стильное и легкое. Она, вероятно, думала, что я не знаю пароль, но забыла одну вещь. Когда ты годами настраиваешь устройство другого человека, запоминаешь шаблоны. Ее пароль всегда был вариацией нашей годовщины. Он сработал с первого раза.
Мои руки потели, сердце колотилось сильнее, чем должно было, ведь у меня уже были доказательства с ее айпада. Something about prying into this computer felt heavier, more conclusive. I knew once I looked there'd be no going back. And damn, I was right. Her email account was open, easy enough. What wasn't easy was the folder labeled Coaching Docs. I expected dull spreadsheets or bland client notes. Instead, it hit harder. It contained her schemes, literal blueprints for a new life. Spreadsheets titled Post-Separation Budget, Solo Apartment Hunt, and one checklist that began with Find Affordable Attorney and ended with Keep Dorian calm until move out. She had been plotting this for months, quietly, methodically, all while sitting across from me at dinner, asking about my day, pretending to laugh at my dumb office jokes.
She wasn't just done with us. She was treating my emotions like an obstacle to manage. I was a liability, something to neutralize. The most humiliating part? I had made it effortless. Desperate to avoid conflict, I clung to the rules of marriage long after she stopped playing by them. I closed the laptop and sat there, motionless. The hum of the fridge buzzed like a warning bell. For a moment, I think I stopped breathing, not out of panic, but clarity. This wasn't a random whim or midlife crisis. It was calculated, deliberate, a campaign. Yet, later that afternoon, she still had the audacity to text me. "Hey, did you get a chance to book my dentist appointment like we talked about?" Like nothing had changed. Like I was still her assistant, not the man she was trying to phase out. I stared at the message, feeling a chill settle over me. No yelling, no begging. I was done reacting. If she wanted calm, she'd get calm, but not the kind she anticipated. My reply was casual, almost dismissive. "Sure, appointment booked. Also took care of something else for you. You'll see." No follow-up. Let her imagination fill in the blanks. That night, I began reclaiming what was mine. I boxed her prized cookbooks, tossed the throw pillows I hated, changed every password, and removed her as a backup on all my accounts. It wasn't revenge, it was reclaiming myself. Just when I thought I was finished, another detail surfaced. An unfamiliar name on our shared streaming account. Ty Picks Red Art. She didn't even try to hide it. That was the last straw. I renamed the profile to Enjoy While It Lasts, logged her out of every device, and made one final gesture. I ordered a single print of the photo we took during our anniversary trip to Charleston, the one where I smiled at her like she meant everything, and sent it to Ty's address. Thursday night, 7:40 p.m., she walked in wearing a navy dress I'd never seen before. Probably one of those self-investment pieces she justified under her image coaching business. Her hair was styled in soft waves, makeup flawless, the click of her heels sharp against the wooden floor. I sat on the couch, pretending to scroll through my phone, but my eyes were fixed on her reflection in the TV screen.
Without a greeting, she asked, "Did you confirm the reservation at Morelli's?" I didn't look up. Reservation? She blinked, confused. "I told you to call. They don't take online bookings." Silence stretched between us.
"Finally," she snapped. "Oh no, I didn't." Turning to face me, irritation flickered in her gaze. "Dorian, I told you it was important. I needed that table." I shrugged. "You said it wasn't your job to meet my needs. Guess it's not mine either." The room grew heavy with silence. She stood frozen for a moment, as if unsure whether I was mocking her or simply indifferent. Then she grabbed her phone and began dialing frantically, pacing in tight circles while whispering about wait lists. Her tone carried urgency and embarrassment. That's when it hit me. This dinner wasn't just another meal. She wasn't going alone. After several minutes, she gave up, slamming the phone down. "Thanks for nothing," she muttered before heading toward the stairs. Exactly 30 seconds later, I stood and walked to the kitchen. On the counter lay an envelope marked in bold Sharpie. "Since I'm not your job." Inside were copies of her texts with someone named Ty, hotel receipts, photos of her entering his apartment building, and a detailed spreadsheet of all my account changes. Topping it off was a printed list of every charge she'd made on my card over the past 3 months, highlighted in red for anything unrelated to our life together. Jewelry, train tickets, lingerie. I placed it neatly on her pillow. 10 minutes later, she descended the stairs slowly, barefoot, her expression uneasy, like she already sensed something was wrong. I stood by the front door, keys in hand. She looked at me puzzled. "Where are you going?" I smiled, a cold, hollow curve of my lips. "Just remembered I made a reservation after all. 1 seat." "Don't wait up." As I stepped outside, I heard her voice, small and uncertain for the first time in ages. "Dorian, what's going on?" I didn't respond. Closing the door softly behind me, I felt like I was leaving a place I'd never return to. I didn't have a dinner reservation. Instead, I drove to the lake, parked, and let the quiet envelop me. Not to cry, not to rage, but simply to breathe, alone and unburdened. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like a shadow in someone else's story. I felt whole. When I returned home, the envelope was gone from the pillow, but everything else remained untouched. She was in the kitchen, arms wrapped around herself, staring blankly at the fridge. Neither of us spoke. The next morning, she started acting differently, making coffee, asking how I slept, smiling as though none of it had happened. It meant only one thing. She was afraid. And so she cooked eggs the following day. I hadn't seen her make breakfast in over a year. The last time she cooked, she ranted about how kitchen chores stifled her creativity. Yet there she was, barefoot, humming some off-key tune while burning eggs as if we were living in some twisted sitcom. I sat silently at the table, watching her pretend the past 2 nights hadn't torn us apart. The air reeked of forced effort masking desperation. She slid the plate toward me with a strained smile. "Over medium, just how you like it." I stared at the food, then at her. "You haven't asked about my job in months. Why the sudden interest in eggs?" Her smile faltered slightly. "Can't I do something nice?" I didn't respond. She sat across from me, sipping orange juice and studying me like an unpredictable creature in captivity, trying to guess my next move. Something had shifted, and she couldn't predict what I'd do. That scared her. That evening, I returned home to find dinner waiting, a steak, roasted potatoes, jazz music playing softly in the background. She wore the dress I once likened to summer personified. "Thought we could reconnect," she said, swirling her wine glass. I sat and took a bite. When she leaned forward, saying, "Let's talk without tension or games," I finally met her gaze. "Is Alex okay with this reunion?" A crack formed in her facade. Her fork froze mid-air. "What are you talking about?" I leaned back, exhaling slowly.
You really think I don't know? You used my card for your weekend trips.
You sent photos from his place while claiming you were working remotely. Did you leave breadcrumbs on purpose? Her mouth opened, then shut. Panic flickered in her eyes, but she didn't admit it. Instead, she lied. You're paranoid, Dorian. Alex is just a colleague. We collaborate on client projects. I nodded slowly. Ah, so you signed contracts with inside jokes now? Silence fell heavy between us. Her jaw tightened, color draining from her face. The game was up, but she scrambled for control. Manipulators don't crumble immediately. They adapt. You've been spying on me, she accused sharply. That's insane, invasive, emotional abuse. I laughed bitterly. I checked the credit card statements and found traces on the iPad you forgot to wipe.
Guess in your haste to build a life with him, you left the door wide open. She stood abruptly, nearly tipping her wine glass. This is low, even for you. I replied calmly, no, but more importantly, I no longer fund you. Pushing my chair back, I walked away. Her voice trailed after me, shaky and unsteady. Wait, Dorian, can we just talk this out? I didn't stop. I locked the guest room door behind me and felt something I hadn't felt in months, relief. Not power, not revenge, just quiet peace that comes when you stop accepting lies disguised as compromise. The next morning, she was still there, sitting on the couch, eyes puffy. She didn't leave or text anyone. She just waited, now tiptoeing around me. 3 days of silence, that's how long she kept up the act.
No accusations, no mind games, just awkward dinners, forced smiles, and clumsy attempts to touch me in passing. I didn't react. She was stalling, waiting for someone or something to guide her next move. Maybe she was frantically messaging Ty behind closed doors, but I didn't care anymore. I wasn't chasing proof, I was already 2 steps ahead. That's when I found it. On Saturday morning, I sifted through old paperwork, not out of suspicion, but preparation. If we were separating, I needed clarity. Buried in a folder labeled Miscellaneous on our shared drive was a bank statement PDF. Not from an account I recognized. Her name was at the top, but the address wasn't ours. An old apartment from before we met. My stomach churned as I opened it. It wasn't empty. It held over $14,000. Deposits stretched back nearly a year, some small, others larger. Cross-checking with our joint account withdrawals, the pattern emerged. Week after week, vague labels like wellness, supplements, work expense, even my name listed as a reimbursement. Quietly, she'd been funneling money away. But the final blow came with one recent deposit marked simply T. That single letter said everything. She wasn't just emotionally distancing herself, she was erasing me entirely. Printing each page, I laid them across the dining table like evidence. When she walked downstairs, coffee cup in hand like armor, she froze at the sight. "What's this?" she asked, voice tight. "You tell me," I replied, not looking up. Funny how someone who claims to be broke has enough saved for an apartment and getaways. She laughed, a brittle, hollow sound. Are you seriously digging into my finances now? That's obsessive, Dorian. I stood, approached her slowly, and handed her the last page, the deposit from T. Her hand trembled, eyes darting between the paper and my face. In that moment, she knew I wasn't bluffing. Is this where you plan to run? I asked. Is this the moment you vanish, leaving me to clean up the mess of the life you're walking away from? She tried to speak, but faltered. For once, no sharp retort or dramatic reaction came. Just a shaky exhale and a restless shuffle of her feet. Then she resorted to her final tactic, tears. Dorian, I didn't know how to tell you. I felt cornered. You were so distant. I thought if I built something for myself, I'd feel secure again. I didn't flinch.
So your plan was betrayal, lies, stealing while charging spa getaways with your lover to my card? Her lip trembled. She sank into the chair, defeated. I never meant for it to escalate like this. But it did, I replied coldly, and I'm not the gullible person you assumed I'd be. I left her sitting there, encircled by proof of her covert escape strategy. That night, I transferred half our shared funds into a new account under my name. Legal? Debatable. Fair? Absolutely. She craved freedom, now she could embrace it fully. It should have been an ordinary morning. Coffee brewed, sunlight streamed through the window as I opened my laptop, trying, and failing, to ignore her presence upstairs. Her hesitant movements echoed faintly, unsure whether to pretend normalcy or maintain distance. Since the financial confrontation, we'd exchanged only terse words. No shouting, no crying, just icy indifference masking mutual disdain, like coworkers trapped in silent animosity. I told myself I was done searching, that I'd uncovered enough deceit to justify leaving with dignity. But curiosity is relentless. When you've been deceived for so long, it's hard to believe you've unearthed every secret. So I opened her email. She always stayed logged in, likely assuming I wouldn't pry. The inbox was unnervingly empty. Promotional spam, a note from her mother, a meditation app newsletter. Nothing about Ty, nothing damning. Then I checked her drafts folder. One entry. No subject, no recipient, just a dense block of text and a blinking cursor. I don't know why I clicked it. Maybe I expected another lie. What I found twisted my gut worse than before. It began casually. Ty, I know you're growing impatient. I'm trying, but it's complicated. He's catching on. Then harsher tones emerged. He confronted me. He's sharper than I gave him credit for. He uncovered the account and some texts. I had to fabricate excuses to calm him down. Now he watches my every move, waiting for me to slip. The words grew cruel. Honestly, I can't stand sharing space with him. He drifts around like a shadow, sulking. Even his breathing disgusts me when he eats. It's suffocating, living with someone so beige. My chest tightened.
Somehow, amidst everything, I hadn't anticipated feeling more humiliated, but here we were. But reading those words, scribbled in secret, not crafted for show or manipulation, hit harder than any argument we'd ever had. This was bare, uncensored. She despised me, not just the relationship, me. I'm trying to get into his savings. He never updated the old password. If I can sneak some out before he locks me out, we'll have enough for the move. Just hold on. 2 weeks tops. That was it. I stopped cold, my breath caught. Not only was she planning her escape, she was siphoning my future too. The funds I'd quietly built over years, untouched, unspoken of, felt like the one thing truly mine. She wanted to take that as well. I didn't shout, I didn't break down.
I copied the entire file, sent it to myself, and shut the laptop. Sat motionless for a while. All her secrets finally laid bare, none from her lips. Downstairs, I heard her bustling, humming absent-mindedly like she always did when nervous, pretending calm. She had no clue I knew, no idea I saw her plan. So I went to my desk, opened my laptop, and dialed 2 numbers. First, the bank, freezing the account. Then a lawyer I'd met briefly at a seminar. I wasn't filing yet, not until everything was in place. But the game was done, and I intended to finish it cleanly. I waited another week, not out of fear, not strategy, just to ensure every detail was secure. I wanted clarity, no drama, no tears, no chance for her to twist the narrative. She still thought she was in control, so I let her act. Breakfasts, soft gestures, casual talk of plans I wasn't part of. But I wasn't playing anymore.
That Saturday, I hosted dinner with close friends, the ones she'd edged me away from over time. She feigned surprise, played hostess, laughing, pouring wine, asking about their lives. Perfect, almost impressive, almost. Midway through dessert, I stood up. I need to say something. Silence fell. She froze mid-smile. I handed her a manila envelope. Confusion flickered, then she opened it. Everything was there. Transfers, messages, screenshots, the unsent draft. Her face paled instantly. Then came the twist she hadn't anticipated. A notarized letter. Joint accounts dissolved, my savings shielded, and notice she'd hear from her lawyer Monday. The room stayed quiet. My friends were silent. No words were needed. The atmosphere spoke volumes. Her lips trembled. She stared at me, searching for the right lines, a way to fix the moment. I broke the silence first. Calmly, decisively. I can't stay with someone who treats me like a backup plan while dreaming of another future. You said it's not your responsibility to meet my needs. Fine. But it's also not my job to finance your exit. I turned to our guests and offered a sincere smile. Thank you all for coming. I wanted those who knew me before this chaos to witness how it ends. Then I walked away, leaving her there, silent, motionless, out of words to use as weapons. 3 months have passed. I live in a modest apartment with a view of the park. I take long walks, sleep soundly, and proudly cook eggs that are far from perfect. I even enrolled in a painting class I'd always claimed I had no time for. It's not about revenge. It's about peace. Simple, quiet, beautiful peace. 2 weeks ago, she called. She missed my stability, she said, admitted she'd made mistakes, said Ty was overwhelming. I told her I hoped she'd find what she was searching for, then blocked her number. Healing isn't about retaliation. It's about walking away when the door finally opens. Have you ever faced betrayal and found a way to reclaim your power? What resonated with you most in this story? Share your thoughts below. Your experience might inspire someone else to find their strength.